About 4 years ago, I was overthinking every word that I said in conversations. Everything the other person did, I analyzed. To the point where conversations felt like such a mundane task to me because I was always getting the insecure side. Because I always thought the other person would be hostile towards me. So for that, I isolated myself from people because of course I did not want to have anything to do with other people because they might harm me, right? So I built up this wall. I had no friends. I stood alone on the school courts because I had no friends. And through that, I was feeling deeply alone actually. It got to the point where I did not even want to go to school anymore because I just felt like the outsider. Nobody really wanted to talk to me. I just felt like the ghost. But the ghost which was being laughed at, right? So if you're overthinking conversations right now, I really want to get rid of this because I'm now at the point where I actually have so much joy in conversations, so much joy in small talk, which I would have never experienced if I stayed on this overthinking level. So we want to get into the concept of flow first. Flow, you've probably heard this already. It's, for example, when you are drawing or writing, you can get into a flow. And this flow is where you basically enter kind of a meditative period. So you will just write, and it feels like it's going super amazing. Okay, you're in the flow, you're going with things. And this is what we want for conversations. So, how do we get there? This is where the most uncomfortable thing kicks in, and this is also where most people won't go further. It's about reps, repetitions. So, how often you actually talk to people out there. So, if you are isolating yourself, of course, you won't get the experience in conversations to then get into the flow. But if you start collecting the experience, the levels in the conversations, you will slowly rise up. You've got a video game that you're fairly good at, right? What did it take to become good at the game? You've probably played thousands of matches, right? You played the same character, you did the same thing over and over again. This is also how it works in real life and especially in conversations and social life in general. You just have to do the things and do them over and over again so you can develop a feeling. So the overthinking part will slowly fade away through that, I promise to you. That's the first step. We get rid of overthinking. The second point, which corresponds with overthinking, is analyzing people. I have this weird habit of analyzing people actually. I always want to know what they are up to, what they mean, what their hidden message is. To a point, this is quite good if you can do this, but especially if you're quite the overthinker, if you're overthinking conversations too much, what if they perceive this like this? What if I offend them? Then it will get quite hard, and you know this, right? You want to say a thing, but then your mind says, "Oh no, you could be offended. Better leave it. Better leave it." And it's so weird to me. Just yesterday, I was going to the gym. I arrived there at the bike place where you put down the bike, and I have this helmet which glows, which has like six more lights than the normal ones have, right? I put my bike down, and then there's a man also putting his bike down and leaving now, which says, "Oh, cool helmet." And then we enter this nice little 2 minute small talk conversations, which we both love and we have such a good time in. I was in a flow state during that talk, but after the guy left and I went into the gym, I actually realized that I had never gotten this conversation if I was still overthinking and analyzing. So, if you are analyzing as well, if you want to know what the other person is exactly for, what that you kind of have to brush away all the little dust from their actual intention. My advice would actually be something you won't hear as often. It's to act like an autistic person for 2 weeks, right? Do you get this? So basically, just take the people by their words. Don't think that they try to get the intention with emotion behind it. So, for example, sarcasm just falls out for you. If somebody pulls a joke, you just don't get it during that time. But then, if you just hear the words and don't value the emotions behind those, your emotions won't be triggered, and you can see how if you just hear the sentences, the raw words, that this will be such an improvement if you're overthinking, right? You just hear the words, okay, it's just information. It's as if you were reading a text. That's everything. And then, okay, you've done this for 1 week. You've only taken people by their words for 1 week. You've just reset your system. And you now know, okay, people are actually trying to convey information to me. And the optimal play, if you play a game, for example, Valorant, which I've played 2 years ago, there is a thing called optimal play. It's what you need to have optimal play. It's the game plan you need to follow to win the game, basically. Like the 10 out of 10 min max strategy, right? So you would follow that. And if the other person, if the enemy plays some weird game which you can't expect, which happens 1 in a million times, then you lose. Because you've played the optimal play, the enemy has done a worse play that isn't the counter optimal play, and now you lose because it was so weird, right? I like to think of this in conversations as well. That you can follow this nice, wholesome path in conversations. And if the other person tries to take a weird turn, then you just go do the optimal thing again and again and again and just keep doing it. And of course, there will be conversations which just go down, but if you try to be the wholesome guy, just trying to understand everything the other person says in a compassionate way, and you don't try to be defensive and, oh, the other person's trying to hurt me, just take them by the words. Just leave your emotions out of it, because emotions, they haven't served you well in conversations and overthinking, have they? So you can decide, do you just want to be the wholesome guy, which you actually also wanted to have as your friend, which just listens and maybe cranks some jokes at the side, but is a pretty straightforward person? Or do you want the person which tries to have a hidden intention behind everything they're saying as your friend? This would make things very hard, right? So just think about this. I believe just trying to get it out for 1 week is a challenge you can grow up to, right? And after that, I promise to you, you will have a different outlook on life. You've just changed your life within 1 week and done the things and stopped the things that made your mind racing. If you're watching this video, I just want to encourage you that you're on the right track, even if you don't watch any further of my videos. But few people actually educate themselves on how to become better at this and this, especially social conversations and things like this, right? So I'm proud of you. I wish somebody would have said this to me back then, or even given me the advice that I'm giving to you right now. I've basically wasted my youth with overthinking, being the anxious guy. And I did not have a good time in social interactions. But now they are some of the best things that just happened to me. I actually like going out into the city now and going into shops instead of just trying to, order everything online. People are really not as out for you as you think. And if they are trying to be hostile towards you, they are genuinely bad people. And there's this Buddhist philosophy which might help you, is that you just stay on your track and even have some compassion for the others. Maybe even be a bit sad for them because they just hurt themselves by saying these things. Their mind is not on the right track. And with you staying on track on becoming better, you can imagine where you will end up in 5 years. So I hope this has helped you and turns your mind down. I've got a Discord channel in the description. Join that. Until then, stay safe and see you soon.